Hey, what's going on guys? As some of you might be aware, this channel did start out by doing drawings, and that's something I kind of wanted to take more seriously nowadays, on top of building Gunpla. So I'm probably going to do more art videos, so what better segue to do that than to draw a mobile suit? This was done on an iPad using Procreate. The things you see here can be applied to many other digital art software. Most of it was done with a flat brush at high opacity. I didn't rely too much on pressure sensitivity, just playing around with the brush size as needed. We needed here to capture the shape or silhouette of the design. This is the first step. You can achieve this by either painting or sketching, whatever works for you. Then moved on to a soft airbrush for the shadows and lighting later on. What I'm drawing right now is the MSN 042, otherwise known as the Nightingale. Originally designed by Yutaka Izubuchi. What I love about Xeon suits is that they really give off a vibe. Like the Sinanju, you get this Ferrari vibe to it. The Sazabi, you get like a Ford Raptor. This is a double-decker bus with guns, which isn't a bad thing. Because of its design, its silhouette is not that hard to capture, thus making it easier to draw compared to the other suits I mentioned. By this time in the video, I've already done that. I have already captured the silhouette or the overall shape of the suit and established the tones that I'm going to use. Working with a limited range of grays here. You don't want to go too dark or too light, that's for shadows and lighting and highlights to do. It is important that we establish the shapes here using the different tones. And having a mid-tone background with a gradient actually makes it easier on the eyes, but go with whatever works for you. Do not worry about coloring or detail just yet, we'll get there. Where step 1 is sketching or finding the silhouette, step 2 is establishing the foundation. You want this as clean as possible before you move on to the next step. At the same time, you can't spend too much time on this step. If you haven't heard of the 80-20 principle, it goes something along like this. I forgot where I learned this from, but it's helped me out a lot. You should only spend 20% of the time on a piece on the foundation, and 80% of how good your art will look will come from that, which makes a lot of sense because you don't want to waste all the time rendering a bad idea. This is called polishing a turd. So I was pretty satisfied with the turd I've made right here. I gave it a quick run with some color in the background to see how it would look. I was pretty satisfied with that, so I moved on to the next step. Now comes the fun part. We're gonna do details now. I do go back and forth between details, lights, and shadows. Adding and removing here and there, see what works and what doesn't. Remember, you can go about this any way you want. I just feel like going back and forth between these three things is essential because if I'm gonna add something, it might affect the shadow over here in this corner or the lighting here on that. Just having fun with it, you know. But one piece of advice that's helped me out is that if you're gonna detail like a certain part of the drawing, it's always good to have certain other parts of the drawing not detailed where it's much easier in the eyes. And when you're trying to lay down a structure for something, think big, medium, and small. Explaining that piece of advice is a video in of itself, but trust me, it does make sense. Like when you look at the torso of the suit, that's the medium, the head is the small, and it being attached to the front or back skirt, that's the big. So everything just looks like it works out, I guess. Do not forget the importance of your shadows and highlights. This is what gives your design form. This mobile suit is predominantly red, and the shadows help separate the different armor pieces and tell them apart. And the highlights help make your piece pop. Dang, I'm this far in the video and I almost forgot. If you are drawing digitally, layers are super friggin' important. How I was able to color this with relative ease, on top of a gray initial painting or sketch, is by setting the layer to overlay and then putting my desired color. And setting the layer to clipping mask makes whatever color that you put on there, or whatever shadow or highlight, apply only to the layer below it. So you don't have to worry about things spilling out. I'll probably do a video on that one of these days. I then added a personal touch to the suit. As you can see by the decals of my channel name, digitally, it is not that hard if the software you have has a warp tool, so you can really skew and warp the decal to whatever. Just add your text or whatever vector logo that you have onto a separate layer and just go nuts. It is also this far into the painting where I realized that even though I got this on a okay pose, top down, not a really common angle you'd see the Nightingale, It is here where I realize that this is not exactly anatomically correct for this suit, because the thrusters are located on the back where those 3 propellant tanks are, so ideally it wouldn't be boosting at this position. But yeah, this is the Nightingale Nandu art custom, so let's just say it does have thrusters down there. But yeah, I know this isn't exactly a proper tutorial, I'm just giving out advice. If there's somebody out there that wants me to make a general or a really detailed tutorial on something like this, if I just get 1 comment, I'll definitely do that, because I really enjoy this just for the heck of it. So yeah, if you're into this sort of thing, consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. If you have any suggestions, leave a comment down below and give me a like if you've been helped by this video in one way, shape, or another. And as always, see you next time. Have a good one.